preparation is key. This is what I love doing, and this is how it makes stuff clear for me. I like listing everything down. I know this looks really complicated, and it actually was, because after I drew it out, I was like, what the hell did I just draw out? And I had to get Sharpies and color coordinated. But basically, it's that lighting setup that it is, which is like 4 different looks, and I like to list everything that I need. Like for this one, like you gotta have a game plan. It's like, first look, warm, cool look. Second one, classic Rembrandt. Third one, like portraits of power, black and white. And then the fourth one, the single beauty dish, like, right? And then you just draw it all out, and you have it there on one set. And you have to be really concise with that area, because when you only have 1 minute with a person, you can't move them from set to set. So like I was saying, being able to react to your situation is really, really important. Things can and will go wrong. Have a plan A, B, C, D, E through F and all that. So you have to have a game plan, and I like saying being prepared. And if it doesn't work out, don't be so tied up in trying to execute the one vision that you missed the opportunity that's going on there. Sometimes getting a shot is better than getting nothing at all, trying to just stick to your own, to your original plan. An excuse can't be published, right? You can't go back to your editor or to anyone and be like, oh, well, something happened. Back to the Women's World Cup one, I hired a really experienced assistant. That one that works for Art Stryber. And I am known for blowing power breakers. I've blown a lot because I like shooting ISO 100 or 50 at f/18. And so in that one, I hired his name is Andy Lee. He's awesome. And he asked the hotel room. He did the math room for all the amps and each breakers. We brought in all the lights. And Ambi Walmack walks in early because she's done a ton of photo shoots. And she just wants to get it over with, like, right? So I start photographing Abby, and we start shooting. And then immediately, I see like 4 lights go off. And right off the bat, I knew a power breaker blew up, right? And because I've been here before, I've done that, right? Luckily, I had like 11 lights in that set, so 4 blew, I still had like 6 left. And I was able to get the shoot going. I was like, Annie, like, go tell the hotel room to like fix this like right now. He went, he came back, and he was like, oh, they said they're gonna get it, like, they're gonna send someone in. I'm like, no, go back right now and don't leave, tell them right now, because when the athletes are there, they're not gonna come back. But what happened was, it wasn't his fault. The hotel room gave him the wrong amperage per outlet, so he calculated it wrong, so that's why the breaker blew. So now when I do a test, I don't trust any hotel room to tell me anything, so now I try to blow the breaker before, before the athletes come, just to see if they told me it was right. So that one I took the word for it, so what I'll literally do is I'll have all the whole light setups, have all the lights going off, and just pop them, boom, 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 on a consistent basis to see if it's not gonna blow. But that happened on that set, and I was prepared as you could be prepared with that one. I had 3 assistants on that shoot, on that one, and it still goes. And then talking about preparation is key, right? Being able to deliver. I had to photograph him in the bathroom. The following day, that's a bathroom setup. He didn't come the day we did shoots. We did the shoot for the men, so I had to photograph him the following day. And that's where I had to photograph him. And you can't make an excuse and say, oh, well, like, I didn't have enough room, I didn't do this. Like, you have to make it work and make it in the bathroom, and then, like, this is the result. Like, the side view on that one is a picture I like from this one. Here we go. This is Cindy LaRue. This was down in Southern California. This is a very, very similar setup to what we're gonna do. And again, that's actually Andy back there, the assistant I was talking about. But this is the setup that I had, and this is the shoot that went. This was a 3-day shoot. This was the 3rd day. She's the last one I photographed on that set. This was actually a really awesome shoot besides the breakers blowing, because I had 10 minutes with each athlete. And that's a lifetime for me. Like, I love that. I actually ended up only shooting them for 8 minutes. Just to, I was like, oh, you give me 10, okay, I'll finish in 8, which is great. So this is the setup for this shoot. This was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 light setup, and then I had 2 more lights on the side. We're gonna do something similar, very similar to this. I'll be able to show you and walk through all the lights and do that, but this is this setup right here, and you could see right here, this arm, this one's right on the boom, and with the grid right here, and the great thing about that is if you have an assistant in the back, and you throw spray on it, you could get beautiful mist. That's all done in camera, and it has to be done properly like that in camera, especially if you're shooting so many images that you don't wanna, I don't wanna, do post-production on a lot of the images, so. When you're shooting anything, athletes, or anything for that matter, even weddings, in my opinion, you need to know what you need to know what you need to get for your clients and know what you want personally. I always, whenever I can't shoot for myself, even on, actually, I got a great story to tell you. The very, very first assignment that I got from Sports Illustrated, it was Brad Smith. When he was the director of photography. And he called me up, and I knew him because I met him at the Eddie Adams workshop, and then he gave me assignments in the New York Times, and then he moved from the New York Times to Sports Illustrated. And then he called me up, and he told me, Alexis, I love working with you at the workshop. I love doing the work that you did for me at the New York Times, and more importantly, I love you. And I want you to be our guy when we have jobs, when we need a guy in San Francisco Bay Area for Sports Illustrated. And I'm like, okay, great. And this is when he's giving me my first assignment. And so he kind of tells me the rundown of what he needs. He's like, get a gray seamless. And he's like, I want it lit nicely, and I know you know how to light nicely. And as soon as he told me that, he's like, just light it real simple with a gray seamless, and just like nice soft lighting. It kind of lifted me up, and I got really excited. All the compliments when he told me that's what he needed, how I wanted to look. I knew exactly how he said it. It's like he drove like a dagger right through my heart, and I was like, oh, dude. I was like, man, I know exactly how that's going to look. That's going to look generic. It's going to look nice, but it's going to be an SI. And a lot of things ran through my mind, and I'm like, okay, cool. It's going to be a cool tear sheet, but it's not going to look how I want it to look. So I was like, man, that sucks. And he just kept telling me the assignments, what they needed. They needed like a long shot list. And before we got off on the phone, he gave me, in my opinion, it's the best photography advice that I've ever gotten. I feel, Brad, if you watch this, I feel like you should get a royalty every time I share this. Because right before he hung up the phone, he said, keep it simple, have fun. And like he literally just said it like that. And I was like, wow, okay. Okay, cool. I was like, damn, what do I do now? Like, you know what I mean? I was like, oh. Because I was like, no, I know what he wants, but I know what I want. I don't like to light like that. I like to light dramatic, warm, cool, and all that stuff. So I didn't listen to him. I respect him a lot. I'm good friends with him. I have an immense amount of respect for him, and I appreciate all the opportunities he gave me. But I didn't keep it simple. I certainly messed it up. And I now looking back at it, I have fun now, but it was a little stressful back then. So what I ended up doing, I have a video on YouTube about this, is I did extra homework, and I figured out a way I could shoot 2 different setups at the same time, back to back. And I gave him both. I gave him the look that he wanted and the one I wanted, and ended up publishing the one I wanted, right? Which was just great. So that to me, it's super important to always shoot what you want, because that's why I do photography, because I do it for me, even when it's a paid client. Because if you're just going to do a job and just do what they want, what a client wants you to do, in my point of view, I would just quit doing photography and get a day job, because I'm not here to do this. This is who I am. This is all I know how to do good, right? I'm going to shoot to satisfy myself. So I think that's always really, really important to do. So again, this is what works for me. Prepare a photo shoot. Expect it to be cut short. I know this applies I'm saying this for the athletes that I photograph, but I think that applies to everything. If you do weddings, people get really impatient in front of the camera, really, really fast. So you really got to know your stuff and be focused on it. I like to set my lights and forget them and just focus on the person. I don't even like switching lenses. That's why I shoot with a zoom lens, so I could get a 3/4 shot and a tight head shot and just get it like that with a fraction of a second. Be quick, efficient. Like I said, people get impatient. So how to prepare, and get ready for a shoot? Know the results you want. Like, right? If you know the results you want, then you actually have a game plan. If you don't know what you want, then you're kind of just going to be all over the place, or just producing mediocre work. All right. So and that applies to anything. Like, right? Once you start getting, like let's take it out of photography. Like, right? If you know you want to get into fitness, right, and you know you want to look a certain way, right? Then you start. You know the end results of how you got to look, then you know the meals you got to eat and the exercises you got to do, right? If you don't have that goal and know what you want, you're just going to eat whatever, right? And you could tell the difference, like, right? When our model comes here, you can see how fit he looks, right? Because he's making an effort on how he wants to look, versus someone that doesn't pay attention to what they eat, because he just knows the results he wants. So that applies here to photography and everything. What works out for me, again, is drawing a lighting diagram. And I like listing all the gear you need, like the lights, the grip, the cameras, and everything, because that just helps me lay everything out, the logistics and that stuff. And one of the things I like saying too is, for some people that look at this and they say, oh, I could never afford pro photo lights, or I could never afford all like this big setup and stuff like that. I always say never start with what you have, because if I started with what I have, I would literally have nothing. I always like to start with a wish list and like a dream list, and just write down like literally like the most ridiculous things that you want. Like I did a shoot with person to shoot with a ballerina, and my list was that long. I wanted to shoot them with like 5 RE Sky panel lights that are 5,500 each, with like 2 Joe Lico lights and like 5 pro photo lights. And I write that down, and then when you write all that down, regardless how ridiculous it is, like right, then your mind, you can start thinking on how you can make that happen, right? Like an example, like if you wanted to do like a shoot with a Ferrari and models or whatever, if you write all that down, and you have that list, like right in your mind, it's gonna start searching, like, do I have a friend that might have a friend that could borrow a Ferrari or something like that? So I would say start like that, not with what you have. And this shouldn't be far out, for anybody. You know what I mean? I'm doing this stuff, and it's not like I'm a trust fund baby or anything. Literally, I was born in the second poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. Like, right? If people want to know what this ring is I'm from Nicaragua. That's what's on the flag. So I came from there. I came here when I was 6 and didn't speak any English. So it's not like I was privileged or anything like that, right? I just literally have like such a passion and drive to create what's in my mind that I'm able to make it. And fortunately, I've been able to get, build relationships with companies and make things happen. But if I've always started or victimized myself and say, oh my God, I can't do this, I can't afford that, you're gonna get nowhere fast. And a lot of people do that online. They're like, oh dang, like, well that pro photo light's expensive, that's expensive. They go for the lowest common denominator, and you're setting yourself up for failure, in my opinion, when you do that.